Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Green River Sawmill. Hope to get snow right now. Right now, it's January 6th, but we just getting rain. I swear it. That's what we get every time. It's calling for rain. I mean, they'll call for snow, but we get rain. But something we're gonna do this morning real quick while it is raining, we can't do a whole lot other than inside work, is me and Cody's gonna change the carburetor on this sawmill. It's the engine. You might can tell it a little bit on the low idle when it's just idling. You can't really tell it when it's engaged because I didn't where we hear the problem, but it's doing it when it's just idling. It's just got like a sputter to it, I guess you could call it. And I do believe it's the carburetor. And these carburetors on these Kohler engines, this is the Kohler engine, 25 horsepower, Commander Pro. Model number is CV-CH740. The great engines. I mean, we ain't got no complaint at all with this engine, but just running a little bit rough. So we always keep a spare carburetor on hand. So we're gonna replace that this morning, real quick. First off, we got to level the mill up because the last thing we used it on that mobile milling job you watched last week. So let's get it leveled up here. The first thing we're gonna do is get our trusty DeWalt tool set out. Now this DeWalt set is nice. I'm not gonna lie, it's nice. We use Milwaukee tools, but the DeWalt set is where it's at as far as stuff like this, like these cases like this. Now of course you can go Snap-on, but we ain't got no money for that. So the first thing you do with this carburetor, changing it, is you take off the air filter cap here, the cover. You take off the air filter. Might be a good idea to go and clean that while we got it out. That's the kind of nasty. And there's going to be a lot of debris or sawdust up in here at the top of the carburetor right here. Just try to keep less as possible out of it if you can. Maybe blow it that way or something. It's kind of messy. And we've been sawing white oak, and that sawdust is like powder. Literally like baby powder. Alright, so the first thing you're going to do when you're changing the carburetor is you're going to take this right here off. This is a bracket that holds on the air filter and the air filter cap. It's a 2 bolts at 5/16. So you're going to set that aside, that bracket. Next, you're going to take off this silver tray right here. This actually sits on top of the carburetor. When you pull this off, the carburetor is going to be right here on top. Now, this video may work for all these engines, not just one that works on a woodmizer sawmill. So just keep that in mind. I'll give you the model number again here in just a minute. And this comes off, and it's got a little hose that comes up to the top of it. It's right there. I always kind of leave that on there and just set that aside. So that way I don't have to do much putting it back. It just goes right back. Set it aside right there, let it hang there. Here's the carburetor right here. Now, with this carburetor, it has 2 bolts holding it on, one here and one over here. It has a couple of your throttle right here, your connections for your throttle and your choke and all that. We'll get to that in just a minute. But to take off the carburetor, the 2 bolts are also 5/16. Now I did go get a drill just because it's quicker. Save a little bit of time. And that's the bolt to come off of it right there. We put them in our magnetic bolt. Make sure you keep a hold of them. If they fall, whew, they go on down in there. Now, before we start taking this out, I'm going to go ahead and take off the fuel line real quick. So we got the fuel line off here, and I just picked it up, and you can see right here, let me get you a little closer shot. This right here, so your top connection here, right here, that's your choke, and that down there is your throttle. And you just kind of wedge them out because they're not in there like stuck, but they're in there at an angle. You can see right there, they're just kind of held in. If you know anything about carburetors, you know kind of how they're in there. A little aggravating, but could be worse. So let's get them out real quick. You I always kind of pick up the carburetor a little bit, turn it just a little bit like that, and most of the time they come right out like that. Most of the time. Now, if you see right here, you see that little spring right there? That little spring? That spring is very important to go back where it was, where it is right now. But to keep that in mind, I always put the spring back where it goes. It kind of hooks in the throttle compartment and a little hole right there. All right, so there's the carburetor out right now. That's the pretty loose. I'm hearing a lot of. I don't think a carburetor's supposed to do that. Good. Can you hand me the new one there? See if we can clean this up a little bit. It's messy. And something else here that's very important. This is where it goes. That's where it seats. And the gasket, we got a new gasket on there. But that right there, that is a ground. That needs to be sure to go back like it is right now. Because I'm not sure if that's grounding. I'm not sure what it's grounded, but it's grounded something, and that does need to go back. Just keep that in mind. All right, new carburetor, please. Here's a new one. Now, this did come from China. I won't lie. China makes decent carburetors for the most part for what you pay for them. I think Woodmizer was this same carburetor. It was $200, I think, somewhere in there. I could be wrong, but it was expensive. This one was $40 off Amazon. So we're gonna run this until it quits. I don't know. All right, we're gonna put everything back like we just had it. We're gonna put back the throttle first. That's kind of what came off last when we took the other one off. Oh, something that we will need to take off your old carburetor, because you got to have it, is this little gasket right here, or a gasket. I'm not sure really what it's called, but I'm dripping fuel. This right here. That's on your throttle lever here. You will need that off, because I need to go on your next one. I don't know why the new carburetor don't come with it, but that right there, that holds your throttle pin in place on your carburetor. Kind of goes back right like that. All right, we're gonna put it back. And this really ain't rocket science. Just doing it pretty much. Put the spring back like that. Okay, we're gonna hook up we can bring it down a little bit and hook up the choke. All right.
Why do you go 16 on the center?
I don't know. All right, I'm gonna get it seat there a little bit. I'll be right back. All right, so the carburetor's seated. It's on the gasket, and also that ground is up under where this bolt goes right here. So now we're gonna hook up the electrical side of the carburetor, which is the fuel pump, and we're gonna hook up the fuel line. And we're gonna put everything back together. I think that should be it. I'm trying to make sure now everything's working. Make sure that's working. Make sure the choke's working, hooked on good. All right, let's get this hooked up. Now, before you start putting everything back together, it's best to turn your ignition and make sure you hear a hum in this carburetor. Because when you turn the ignition on, you will hear that carburetor turn on. It may not be a hum, it's going to be more like a tick, like a tick, tick. You'll hear it get power. Let me see if I can let you guys hear it so y'all know what it sounds like. Turn the ignition on. Everybody guys can hear that. That's kind of what it sounds like when it gets power. You want to make sure you hear that before you go any further with putting it all back together. Now you see me using my drill there, but right now I just snugged up the carburetor. I'm not going to torque it with the drill. I'm going to use a socket and a wrench. What's this thing called again?
Ratchet?
Ratchet, yeah, use that.
What? You gonna edit that out, ain't you?
No. I just had a little brain fuzz there. All right. I'm always scared I'm gonna torque him too much with the drill. The old D-walk, buddy. I'm still got faith in your
Don't
D-walk.
work the D-walk. It ain't gonna torque it.
All right, so I got the shield started. I got the 2 bolts back here that holds this shield on, and what holds the rest of it on is this bracket. These bolts through the shield into the carburetor, and this again, this is the bracket that holds on the air filter. Now, I had to change the gasket from this shield to the carburetor right here because it was bad. But it's kind of hard lining that gasket up to this, but it can be done. Ain't nothing to it. Now, you gotta make sure your hoses are back in. This is the hose that is overflow from your carburetor. That is a, I think that's a breather hose. Don't hold me wrong, I'm not a mechanic, but I think that's a breather hose. But we're about to get it. Now, if it's fixed the engine or not, I don't know, but we're about to get the carburetor back on. All right, I have not cranked the mill yet, and I didn't put the filter back on, air filter, because just in case I gotta get back in there. But this is the final. Now again, it's cold. It's about what, 30 degrees right now?
34.
34. All right. Yeah, I have not cranked this yet, so keep your fingers crossed. Y'all seeing it real time. Did you cut it off? Yeah, I cut it off. Okay. Now, again, we should have let y'all hear it before we changed this, but you could tell, and y'all might hear it in the videos, but it wasn't running right. Like this thing was not running right. That right there sounds a world of difference. We had a time with this thing Saturday, cranking it over at that milling job. We didn't show that, but it was time to be changed. So no choke, nothing. It's cold. Only time it ran was you just seen it right there. So here we go. Need to clean this out too. We are gonna clean this out, I promise. But right now, I just want to engage it and make sure it's gonna be fine. Preaching to the choir here. I just told you to clean that out if we put it back, and here I go putting it back without cleaning it out. Fire. Engage. Run that smooth a long time. In idle anyway, in idle. Again, the problem wasn't when it was engaged, the problem was when it was idle. It had a big sputter for a long time after you rushed it. Call it good? All right. I'm tickled about that because I was kind of worried about it. I was hoping it wouldn't be nothing else, but most time with engines like this, it's the carburetor every time. Just buy a carburetor. We're gonna check the oil. We're gonna clean the filter, change the carburetor. Now, normally that carburetor, I filmed it, and it took about 30 minutes probably. But if I wasn't filming and I was in the field and we had to hurry up and get it changed, probably about 10 to 15 minutes. This engines make it very easy to change them. Everything's accessible on top and it's easy to get to. And two, you can pull this mill back up to the your hydraulics here, and you can just make a platform out of it. But that's gonna be it for this video. But I want to make a shout out. I want to make a shout out to one of our guys that watch our videos, one of our viewers, subscribers, Dennis. Man, I want to appreciate you watching the video. I appreciate you commenting. I really do. Oh, Dennis, he's been with us through thick and thin from the beginning. I think he's from Ireland, if I'm not mistaken. I hope that's okay with me to say that. But Dennis, thank you for watching. Please continue watching. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Thank y'all for watching. See you on the next one.